Okay, so what we're going to look at now is something that I would refer to as a tabular summary. And we're specifically going to create a few different pivot tables at least, that will summarize in such a way where we're going to keep it from getting too big, and we're going to keep it really tight. All right, so when I initially put this together, I'll show you what it's going to look like before doing anything to it, and then once we see that, then I'll show you some tools that we're going to employ and apply to that pivot table to make it a much more compressed looking summary. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and we'll click on to insert here. We'll go to pivot table, hit OK. There we go. And it's detached here. I guess that's okay. So what we want to do now is kind of focus on product that we've sold. Look at the category that it belongs into. How much of it did we sell? What was the cost of the item? What was the retail that we sold the item for? What revenue and what profit did we make from it as well? All right, so the first field that we're going to bring in is going to be the SKU number. I don't think we've ever brought that one in for any of our pivot tables here. So here's the SKU number. We're going to bring that into the rows area, just like that. And then, of course, we'll bring in the product name. And then we'll also bring in the category. All right. And then we're going to bring in the price. Okay, so this would be what we sell it for. All right. We'll bring that down into here. That would be something that you'd expect that we would put maybe into the values here, but we're not looking to add up all the prices. We're just looking to get the price of that specific item. So as you can see here, it comes in as $6.15, $3.43, and so forth. All right. Next thing we're going to bring in is going to be the cost. So in other words, what it cost us. That's going to be this one here. Not the total cost, but just the cost. And we'll put that down there. And of course, then you'll see, so for this first one here, we sell it for $6.15. Our cost is $2.89. All right. Now, what we also want to see here is how much of this did we sell? How is quantity, as far as numbers go. Okay, not dollar-wise, but just how much quantity did we sell? And luckily, we have the quantity field that was recorded for each of the transactions. So we're going to take the quantity field, and this one is going to go into the values. All right, and you'll see that. So that number that you're seeing there is the number of items or number of them that we sold for each of these items here that you see, right? I also want to bring in the total sale. So that'll be the revenue. So we'll see that. And the other thing I want to bring in is profit. Now we don't have profit in here. So we'll go over to our Analyze tab, go to Fields. We've only done this calculation 1,000 times so far with all these different videos, but we'll go to Calculated Field, right? Up here we'll just type in maybe PR for profit, and then the formula will consist of taking the total sale, right? Double click that, minus the total cost, right? And we'll double click that. Hit OK, and there we go on that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take all this and get it so where each of these groups ends up occupying one row. And that's the trick here. See? So if you can imagine having just thousands of products that, that you've sold, how much room this would take up if you left it like that. And plus two, it's not very readable. All right, so we want to get this all on one row, each of these groups onto one row. Now to do that, what we're going to do first of all is we're going to go over into the Design tab. All right, we're going to go into the Report Layout. We haven't done this one before, so we'll click on the Report Layout. And instead of it being in compact form, that's what it currently is set for right now, is compact. You can kind of tell by the little picture there. we're going to go with instead tabular. All right, so we'll click on the tabular, and there we go on that one. Now, it's still a little messy looking, but we'll fix it up further here. So the next thing we need to do is tell it that we don't need any kind of subtotaling here. All right, so we're going to go back into the Design tab, go to the Subtotals, and tell it do not show subtotals. And by doing that, boom, fixes it right up. Now, we're also going to tell it that we don't want anything centered in here, all right, because a lot of it's centered and doesn't look too good. So we'll go back to Analyze, go to Pivot Table, hit Options, and take off that Merge and Center. Hit OK. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and select the whole area here, just hitting the Select All up there. Point to one of the borders up here, any one, it doesn't matter which one it is. Double click it, and there we go. So now you see what we were trying to achieve here. We wanted to be able to see each product, see the SKU number, category, what it sold for, what it cost us, how many did they buy, or how many total did they buy, the total revenue, the total profit. All right. So the only thing we really need to do here maybe is go to the quantity here, and what we can do here is we can maybe change that label to maybe the pound symbol / sold, so the number is sold, and then we'll also go down to the number format, change that to number, put a comma in there, no decimals, hit OK a few times. We got that all fixed up. All right. The sum of total sale, which will be technically the revenue, right? We'll double click that one. We'll type in revenue, and again we'll go back down to the number formatting, number, no decimals, comma format, hit OK a few times. We got that fixed up. And then this last one here, we can just put in there the word profit. That's it. And looks pretty good. Now, some additional formatting we can do on here is we can go to the design, all right, go back into our little drop down there, and we can either maybe go with something maybe on this first light area here, maybe pick something like that, give it some maybe banded rows there, kind of make it look like that, kind of make it kind of stand out. And the other thing, a little minor thing here, let me put this panel back into the side there. Another thing here we've got, if you go into the Analyze, you'll see this button right here. It's like plus and minus buttons. That's what you're seeing there. Now, it's not a big deal. It just seems to be getting in the way. It just looks a little messy there. So we can actually just click onto that, and that will then get rid of those. We could also kind of center this up a little bit. We can click on and maybe column A, make that centered. Maybe column D and E and F, we can maybe make those centered, right? And on these guys here, since they're all pretty much the same amount of characters, we can even maybe go ahead and make those centered as well. All right, so that'll kind of fix it up a little bit. Not too bad. Maybe go back in there and kind of color it up a little bit. Maybe we'll go with the orange instead, something like that. We could also just jump down into something completely different. Maybe something like this one here. Doesn't look too good there. I'm never happy with these things, you know. Now, this comes up like this. It's got the column headers and so forth. We can kind of take that off if we wanted to, but that wouldn't be a good thing. Maybe the banded here, take that off, put it back on again. But it's up to you how you want it to look. I mean, it's just, I've never been able to find like the perfect one, you know, to use. So you got all these different ones in here. So you find the one you like and you kind of go from there. All right, so that I think is a really nice layout there. The other thing too, and this is just a minor thing, you might not want to see the filter buttons here. Remember, the filter buttons, when you click on them, they're going to allow you to pull out certain ones that you don't want to see here. I'm not looking to filter it that way, so I probably would want to go over here to Analyze and tell it that I want to take out the, oop, wrong one there, take out the, that there, I can go like that, but then again, when you do that, then you kind of lose the heading, so it's you know, one thing or another, but over and above that, I think it looks okay so far. Now, here's the thing. The data that you're looking at right now is for the 5 years, okay? So when you look at the data here, this is what we're basing the pivot on. We've got many years of sales here, all right? So that's what you're seeing as far as numbers. So historically, you're looking at our entire life of sales so far, right? What we might want to do is bring in at least an element that will allow us maybe to focus on a specific year, okay? And kind of go from that route. So another way we can do this, now, before I've been showing you how to do it with the pivot table filters, what we can also do instead is bring in that timeline. So if you go over here to the Analyze, you'll see that we've got the Insert Timeline. Now I click onto that, and we'll choose the order date, hit OK, all right? This comes up. Now, you can either put it off to the side like this and work with it, or what we can do is maybe kind of highlight a few rows here, maybe something about like that. Right-click it, hit Insert, and kind of push everything down. And then I can take this guy, might have done too much there, get rid of these two here. All right, so I can take this, change this from months to quarters, all right, and then go ahead and click onto it, make it a little bit wider, maybe kind of fit the width of the pivot table. So now we're looking at all the years in this case. And then from that point, then we can go ahead and use this for figuring out, you know, what range we want to see as far as the years go, quarters, whatever. So if I wanted to be able to take this list and only see what we did, let's say in 2024, I can point to the first quarter of 2024, kind of drag it to the 4 quarters, and now the numbers that I'm seeing here are for just that year. All right, that's not bad. And then if I want to reset it back to seeing everything, I can just click on that little red clear button here, and that will take us back. The other thing you might want to do is also look at maybe filtering in this area here. So we might say, well, I just want to see just seafood, right? Well, then I can go here and I can click onto the category, hit the select all, go down to the bottom here, find seafood, right? Hit OK, and now this is just my seafood sales. Now, what I can do in addition to that, what we could also do is put the category in a slicer and be able to pick multiple categories, and that way anybody looking at this would have an idea of what it's being filtered by, if anything, right? So what we'll do here is we'll make sure we click on the pivot table, go to Analyze, go here to Insert Slicer, and we'll go ahead and we'll put the we'll bring in the category. So we'll do that as a one of the fields, and then we'll also bring in the zone, and let's see what else. We'll do the rep as well. So zone and rep. All right. Hit OK on that. Those all come up. Now what we can do here is we can put these along the side, maybe something like this here, and maybe make this a little bit wider here. And then go open the options here and we can do something like that. And then pull that up. Then we can go ahead and we can bring in the zone, put that about right there. And again, we can do a few columns there. Something like that. And then last but not least, we can put in the rep. And maybe put the rep, we can just put that up here. It might take a little doing to get it, everything all laid out exactly the way that you want it, but I'm not going to be real picky here right now. Bring that out a little bit and then pull that up. And there we go. All right. So by doing that, then what you can do is you've got a number of different ways that you can focus in on your information. Now, as you can see right now, we have just seafood being represented here, but we could also, because we did that regular filter there, but we could also hold down the control key and click on the dairy, click on the produce, something like that, let go of the control key. So now anybody looking at this would say, okay, it has to do with the, these three categories, all these same territories, same reps for all periods. So basically everything. So now I can go in there and say, okay, I just want to see 2025. So I can kind of do something like that. And now I can see my numbers for that range given this category here, right? These set of categories. Now I can clear that out, clear this out, and then I can go and say, okay, now how about we'll look at Africa. So we click on Africa, there's the African, and then we can say now I want to see just the seafood, and there's our seafood. So pretty cool stuff there. All right, so now let's change this up just a little bit, and what I'm going to do first of all is to get this a little bit less busy looking. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these slicers. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of clear out. Get over here. Okay, so I'm going to clear each of these out. Make sure they're all back to having no filtering, and then I'll go ahead and delete each one of them. Okay, I'll leave in the time element up here for the timeline and all that. So what I'm going to do now is I want to kind of focus on, still looking at these kind of numbers here, but look at it more where we're looking at it as a company and breaking it down by category, and within category by the actual product that was purchased by the company. So here's how we'll do this. Go ahead, I'm just going to kind of pull out the SKU number here, pull out the product. Well, actually, we'll leave the product there. Okay, so pull out the SKU number. That's what we have so far now. And then what we're going to do is bring in the customer ID number. So we'll go and find the customer ID here. We'll pull that into the rows area here. And I think I'll detach this just so we can get a little bit more room there. Okay, so we got the customer ID in there. Then we want to bring in the company right underneath there. So now we've got the ID, we've got the company, we've got the, now the category, we want to bring that in. We want to actually put the category, we'll just kind of rearrange that. So we've got that in there, and then we've got the product. All right, and then we've got the, now in this case, the product and the price and the cost and all that, that's all in there. But a little bit hard to see it, so I'm going to go ahead and select everything, all right? Double click one of the borders up here and get that all kind of stretched out there. So now, got a pretty good looking design here. I can actually see now the customer, what the customer has purchased, all right? And then as far as the categories go, and then a breakdown as to the different products in those categories that they had purchased, and then all the other usual information. So pretty nice deal there. Again, we can click onto it, go back into the design. We're just going to pull this back in here again. And I can, find a format that I might like, maybe go to the light look and kind of do something like that. Yellow. I'll tell you, I'm really disappointed with some of this stuff here because it's, for the coloring, I guess that might be looking good, I guess. All right. But anyway, you can have fun with it. So that looks good. Well, that gives us a nice little breakdown of information. Do one other thing here. I go to the medium here, something like that. Take off the row headers here. That'll look okay. So there you go. Not bad. Now another angle we can look at is we'll get rid of the customer ID and the company. And this time we'll bring in the rep number. So we'll find the rep number there. Bring that in. And then also bring in the rep underneath it. We can do that. Now what we did do though is we did use the concatenate function to combine those two, and that's where we have the full rep there. We can take the full rep and just put it down there and get that. All right, and then once again, select everything, double click it, and there we go. So that's pretty nice. So now we can actually see what each of the reps sold and what they sold into and all that information, see? And then again, we can use our little timeline up here to say, okay, I just want to see the first year, 2022. And there it is. Now another angle could be looking at the zone and the country, right? So we can go back in here, pull those two off, and we'll go find our zone, put that there, take our country, put that there, select everything, double click it, and there you go. So now we can actually see a breakdown as to what was purchased by each country, all right? And we can look at, what it was sold for, how much did they buy, the revenue, the profit, same stuff we've seen before. And, we can turn off the filter here and bring it back to where we see all the data for all 5 years. All right, so now here's another thought that you can do with this. We're going to kind of change this in a dramatic way. But what I want to do is be able to see, let's say, the company, the parent company that it belongs to, the country that it's from, and then see a breakdown as to each of the categories and how much, revenue or profit, depending on which one we pick, we did in each of them. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to yank off all of the rows here. So I'm just going to take those all out of here, right? And I'm going to bring in the company. So I'm going to find the company here. Put that there, right? And then I'm going to take the parent company. See that there? See, if we didn't have this in that tabular layout, we'd end up getting Alfred's here, and then Tyrell would be out like on the next row. Let me just show you real quick here. If I went in here, went back to the design, went back to that report layout, and went back to the compact look, that's how it would look. See, so by just having in this layout going with that tabular look completely changes this so we can actually do a very solid, summary of information. All right. We'll bring in one more item that will be the country and put that as the third item. So now we can see what country they're from, right? Now, what we want to see here is now going to be the along the top here, I want to see it broken down into the different categories. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to find the category field. All right, and I'm going to go ahead. I'll do it right now. I'll just pull this off here. If I pull this off, it'll yank these out, and that's fine. So I'm just going to pull that out. And then I'm going to go and find the category. And the category now is going to become the column heading. Look at that, huh? And then I'll go ahead and I'll bring in the, in this case, we'll do profit. So I'll bring the profit in here. And now what you're seeing are what all the companies have done individually as far as selling into the different categories here, right? And you can see a lot of them are zeroed out, which might be a concern. A great report for maybe a sales manager, so that sales manager can get on the reps and find out, you know, why were there no dairy products ever? I mean, look at this, 5 years of data, no dairy products, you know, sold to a number of different companies, or not sold to a number of different companies. And then once I have that, I can, you know, go up to my my timeline here and say, okay, I want to see the first, you know, 2 years here. So I'm going to take my slider here and just kind of drag it across there. And now what you're looking at are the first 2 years and the companies and what they had purchased as far, or I should say the profit that we made from them, right? And then later on, if you say, well, what if I wanted to see both? Now this might get a little bit messier, but I could bring in the total cost, which would be the revenue. I could put that above the profit there to get something like this. So now we're back to where we've got the beverages, and then we've got the revenue and the profit, revenue and profit for each one of them. Now I could go back to here, type in, revenue, right? And here I could type in profit. There we go. And I could also go to the design, or I should go to analyze here, go to pivot table, go to my options, and tell it that I want to merge and center. We might not like this. We'll see what happens. Yeah, that looked, that's okay. What we could do, at least for these guys, we could take these first 3 here, right? And we can go back and override that and tell it we want that lined up on the left-hand side. That way, this is all nicely centered as far as the labels go, and then we've got these labels on the far left there. So that worked out good. And one last thing we can do, I mean, I could go on for hours with this, but I think you're getting the idea. But I want to do one more thing here. I want to pull out the category. Do that. And I'm going to bring in the order date. All right, I'm going to put that into the columns area here. Let go. Now that's going to give us, you know, years, quarters, months, all that stuff. I don't need all that. What I'm going to do then is click onto one of these, go back to Analyze, go back to the Group field, take off the months, take off the quarters, leave the years, hit OK, and there we go on that one. And then I'm not really concerned with profit right now, so I'm going to take the profit off of the summary, kind of condense it a little bit. So now we're able to see all the years. Now, because we've got that filter in place up here, it right now is just focusing on 22 and 23, and that's what you're seeing here. I'm going to clear the filter, and I'm not going to need the filter anymore, the the timeline filter here. So I'll just delete that. Oh, there we go. All right, and then I can go ahead and get rid of some of these rows here, these blank rows. Delete that. And there we go. So now, what are we looking at? We're looking at the profit, all right, or the revenue at least, for all of these years. So we can actually see all that in there. Again, we can go back and say, you know what, we don't need anything centered. So I'll just click on here, go back to my Analyze, go back to my pivot table, Options, take off the merge and center, and there we go. Looks pretty good. I can also very quickly right click one of these numbers here, go to my value field settings, all right, go to my number format, number, no decimal places, hit OK, and there we go. Nice. So there we have it. So hopefully this will be something that you can kind of apply to your own data as well. I hope you can do that. So appreciate you watching the video. Take care.